In this video, we'll explain how to remove the heat shield on a base model VR6 Cayenne to gain access to the left side of the engine when facing the vehicle. This will be useful for things like exhaust work, oxygen sensor work, and other items that are hiding under the heat shield. You'll need uninhibited access to the left side of the engine bay. Remove the engine bay covers. If you need help, see my engine cover video on my channel and linked in the description under chapters. Disconnect the Bank 1 oxygen sensors. This step is optional, but highly recommended because the heat shield rubs up against the wiring on the oxygen sensors, and disconnecting the oxygen sensors isn't too difficult and gives you more clearance to remove the heat shield. We'll simply disconnect the Bank 1, i.e. the first two oxygen sensor connectors we see, to make the wires dangle and let us get them out of the way when removing the heat shield. Snip any zip ties holding excess oxygen sensor wiring in place if you have any on Bank 1. I did not, my zip ties were on Bank 2. Now we'll remove the connector. Most importantly, if your oxygen sensor connectors are stuck, don't pry them out with a screwdriver, as we can see someone has done before. Use the trick we learned from Ruslan's other video with shift cables, and grab them using pliers and wiggle them out little by little. It's much simpler and easier this way, and there's much less danger to the other components. Now to the disconnecting portion. On the larger, square connections, press out on the tab so that the tab presses back, away from the connector, towards the wires to release it. On the rounder, more oval ones, the process is similar. The first two connectors should be disconnected. That will assist in the next step where we remove the heat shield, because now that they are disconnected, we can move the wires out of the way to assist with heat shield removal when they get in the way. The heat shield has a bracket attached to it, and the whole thing is held in by force via clips at the top. First, remove the bracket via the two triple square bolts at the bottom, and a bolt that should not be missing at the top. Then, applying leverage against the other components, being careful not to damage anything, pull out one side of the heat shield and then the other, little by little. There we go. Pulls out. I'm using from the front, I just got leverage here, making sure not to cut myself against stuff, and then it slides out. Left hand recommended glove, because it's scratched against something, but not too bad. Also getting leverage so that when it does break loose, I don't cut myself. There we go. Let's reinstall the heat shield. Aligning the heat shield perfectly takes a little bit of trial and error. First, we loosely insert it over everything and push the clips back into place, roughly where they were, and then we might have to pull it out and adjust it left and right so that with the bracket installed, the top bolt lines up with the bolt on the engine. This took me a few tries because the bracket should be uninstalled when you're placing the heat shield. When everything is in place, we tighten the bolts, attaching the bracket to the heat shield, and also replace the top bolt with one of our extras from the exhaust. Reconnecting the oxygen sensor electrical connectors is infinitely easier than removing them, so make sure all four are connected, reinsert them, and don't forget to zip tie the extra wires so that they stay out of the way. Let's reinstall the engine covers so that it's a complete installation.